What is going on YouTube? Hidden back making another brand new Crypto TV episode. In today's video, we're going to be looking at Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, as well as XRP to US dollar and the S&P 500. Specifically in today's video, I want to talk about a few, a couple of things, a few things in specific. I have a few articles I want to talk about in regards to the S&P 500 as well as XRP as a whole. Basically, I want to talk about the possibilities that the S&P 500 will likely fall about another 10% before we see any sort of bull market up here. And I do think it is extremely important that you watch this video till the end. If you guys have invested at all within the current space of the S&P 500 or cryptocurrency, you might want to watch this video because there are some fairly important things to discuss. Otherwise, let's jump into today's video. Definitely make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, leave a giant thumbs up. Remember to kill that like button. This way it does help support the YouTube algorithm. Otherwise, follow me on Twitter and let's jump into today's video. All right, guys, as you guys know, I love everything investing. I love everything about money, credit cards, learning how to grow a portfolio, things of that nature, how to hustle, how to build your own business. All of those things intrigue me. Well, I want to start sharing more with you guys, and I've actually I really want to switch over to talk more about the S&P 500 and things of that nature. So I did see an article this morning that I thought was fairly interesting that I would want to share with you guys in regards to the S&P 500 will likely plunge 10% in the near term before the bull market resumes, Morgan Stanley's investment chief says. This is pretty crazy. Falling another 10% acts quite bearish on the market. The fact that another 10% correction before any sort of bull market is very interesting to see this. This was just posted this morning. It's very interesting, and I think once I show you the S&P 500 chart, you'll understand where my head's at. So obviously right here, you can see this is the S&P 500 pulled up. I've been talking about this for quite a bit now, and I want to talk about how this correlates to XRP. So if you're interested in XRP and learning more about that, definitely stick around because in a few minutes, I'm going to be talking about the cryptocurrency space and how this market correcting is ultimately going to be affecting the, crypto space as well. The economy in the US is going to affect the cryptocurrency space. So check this out. A lot of you guys were watching yesterday's episode and talking how this wasn't necessarily a double top, and I truly believe this is probably going to be one. A lot of you guys are thinking this could be a cup and handle. That is definitely a possibility, but I'm more so looking at this as a bearish double top formation that is ultimately going to correct us lower. Now, for those of you that don't know, we've been looking at this chart for quite some time now. You can see as prices start to gauge higher and higher, the RSI has been going lower and lower in regards to what appears to be some sort of bearish divergence. Now, as you can see today, we have dropped even lower than the previous days, going from a price of, even yesterday, 35.56 all the way down now to 34.22. So we're continuously correcting lower, and I think this pattern is going to continue to happen. As you saw, this was the spinning top doji that formed right here, ultimately, curving the price downwards, and I personally think this is going to signal a bearish correction in the market, which could easily drop us another 10% in the market before we see any sort of correction to the upside. Very similar to what the article said. Another 10% would literally bring us down all the way to here. This is fairly low, but this is what I've been expecting. I honestly think we'll head a little bit lower, maybe 14%, retesting the moving average, and then maybe seeing a correction, if not lower. But I'm definitely leaning more towards a bearish correction within the S&P 500 as things are starting to hit a high. Even if you don't consider that this is a double top, you do have to consider the fact that we are in a massive uptrend right here. And every time we hit top resistance here, it's usually a signal of correction. It has happened over and over and over and over again. And each time we do so, we reverse downwards. So, the same thing is most likely brewing for the current price right now. So that's why I'm correcting or expecting a correction lower down, and that's why I have ultimately reversed my position in the Roth IRA that I have set up. I have not taken money out. I've just sold off, waiting to buy back in. Now, for those of you interested in learning how to capitalize off XRP or how this could affect it, obviously I've mentioned in the past that when we saw the big dip in price February and March, when COVID happened, you saw the dip here, it ultimately affected cryptocurrency as well. So money didn't leave the economy and move into Bitcoin, it fell out of both. Money and volume left both. So that's the interesting thing. So as we move forward, I do want to talk about the very interesting movement that's happening within, where is it? Here we go, within the XRP chart right here. So as you can see, I do have the exchange that I trade on pulled up. You can see BitYard is right here. And we've been pretty much trading this coin for quite some time now. We made a very nice correction off of, or a very nice, percentage gain off of this correction right here. This was very nice to see that as we hit resistance at this downtrend right here, we had a few days of consolidation, which ultimately led us to reverse downwards, causing some sort of momentum to pull us lower. And then we saw that as we had multiple trends up here, and you saw that we easily corrected and confirmed this uptrend. You saw with 1, 2, 3, 4 now confirmations that this is a very liable support. And the fact that we're continuing to head up on this and use this as a support, setting these higher lows that are forming, ultimately allows us to basically play around in between here. So we know that there's a clear bottom and a clear top. There's a clear price ceiling and a clear price floor. Ultimately, what this allows us to do is trade in between those. So when we're basically retesting this uptrend right here, or sorry, the resistance right here, we know if we correct lower, it's ultimately going to go to here. We know that's where we would sell off and capitalize off the short position. That's what we did last time. Hopefully you guys took advantage of that. If not, I did link BitYard in the description down below. It is completely free to, sign up. They even offer, I think, up to $50 of Bitcoin if you sign up. So definitely make sure to check it out. It does help support the channel, as well as this is definitely one of the best exchanges I've used recently because of the amount of options to trade around with. The fact that you have all of these different altcoins right here, the fact that you have even more altcoins here, and then you have derivatives to trade crude oil, gold, and even the S&P 100 is pretty incredible to see. So moving forward, what do we expect to happen? So obviously we see that there is a clear and obvious, symmetrical triangle forming. I have this article that I pulled up right here, as whales are loading up on XRP, aiming for 30 cents. As we know, where is it, that XRP went through a brutal correction over the past 2 months. We know this. We've seen this happen. And the cross-border remittance token saw its price plummet by more than 30% when the coin went through a high, or from a high of 33 cents in early August to a low of 22 cents. Basically, what they're looking at is if demand continues to rise, XRP may have the strength to break through the overhead resistance and turn the 50-day and 100-day moving averages into support, which would be incredible if we can continue to hold this. Under such circumstances, prices might shoot up by more than 20% towards the next area of interest, which would be closer to 30 cents. You can see right here what they've pulled up is very clear and obvious. You can see that there is clearly the 50 and 100-day moving averages. And as we are starting to twiddle our thumbs near this, if we break through it, we should shoot up to the 30-cent mark, which I agree to. The problem is, notice the descending fractal they have drawn out here with the clear bottom support, the downward support, and the downwards resistance here that we've had numerous attempts to break through, and we have not done so. Now, not saying that we can't, we probably, and we definitely could do so by breaking through here. It's just, is it going to happen? So people are definitely on the edge. Are we going to be breaking a bullish movement? Are we going to correct lower? Ultimately, you can see we just got rejected from that resistance once again, and we're falling lower. But I do believe as consolidation hits within this price and within this candle, you should see we should fill the gap closer and closer and closer here. Filling this gap would and should eventually allow us to see some sort of pop, obviously some residual pop. The volume should build, and then we should see that gradual jump in price, either shooting us up like this or breaking us back down. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. It's just waiting for the pop to happen. And how do we do that? You can see it's just, I'd say, about 4 to 5 days max left within this trend, and then eventually we should be able to see that volume, adjust accordingly, and we should be able to see the pop. Now, it really doesn't matter because the fact that we can buy long and sell short on BitYard allows us to basically buy in or sell short at any point. Now that we know the confirmations of which the resistance lines are and which the bottom supports are, we know that if we see the price close a daily candle below and or above the resistance or support, we know to be buying in to sell short or to buy long. So if prices close below here, we know that there's probably going to be a higher chance that we correct lower, and vice versa. If we close above this resistance, we know that to buy in and buy long and then anticipate a run to the upside. Obviously, I'll definitely be sharing all of these trades on my Patreon very soon when the price does happen. It's merely just waiting right now for this small consolidation on our conservative approach to happen. Ultimately, moving back to the S&P 500, it's very interesting to see that people are talking about the S&P 500 probably going to head down. Again, the fact that this new bull market in September breaking 3,500 is quickly retreating, which is incredible. Last week, the S&P 500 attempted to break 3,550, and it failed as we said it would. We're now correcting lower and lower and lower. So basically, as it said in the article posted on Markets Business Insider, it's most likely going to have the same effect here. We attempted to break 3,550. You can see it right here. This is that strong resistance. This is what we've been talking about over and over and over again. If the price manages to break 3,550, which is our incredibly bullish and strong resistance, which is currently acting now, we're going to pop at a very, aggressive rate. The ultimate problem is it's going to be so oversold in the market that it's due to correct at some point moving forward. The great thing is now that we have yet to break through here, it basically allows us to head up higher sooner than later. If we consolidate down now, even if we see a correction here, we'll be allowed to head up even higher, maybe next to $3,700 in the next few months, maybe into 2021. We know that after the correction, if we start to pull back up, it'll be higher than the previous high. Obviously, we have a cap right now, a price ceiling closer to 35.50, but in a few months we'll know that we can now go to 36.80. That's the highest point we can go to. That's where the price ceiling is moved to as we slowly start to correct and uptrend to the upside. So basically it's mainly just what are we looking at right now. Some people think that a cup and handle is forming. I do see it slightly. I don't know how accurate it is, whether or not it's going to cause a bullish correction. I mean, I would more anticipate, people are saying obviously a cup and handle is fairly bullish right here, and then we correct higher. I can slightly see where people are referring to this. I'll draw it out for you. Depending on how you look at it, it could be this and then down here, or it could be this bigger one and then a stretch down. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. Either there people are referring to this and then this, and then seeing a break to the upside, or they're looking at here and then seeing a break and then another bull to the upside. Regardless, they're both bullish. Do I agree with it? Not entirely. I think you got to be much, much, much more careful than just doing that. At that point, they must be looking at either the daily or the 4-hour. Okay, I can see the daily. Let's see the 4-hour, if that's referencing a cup and handle. So yeah, I can see where they're referring to a cup and handle right now. Now it's a lot more obvious. You can clearly see the cup and handle forming right there. Boom. I'll pull up a reference point so you guys get the general, decision. Boom. So here's what they're referring to as a cup and handle. Let's get a better photo. Boom. Cup and then handle. And then it's usually, insisting on a correction to the upside. It's definitely a possibility. It's so tough to consider this to be a bullish cup and handle. I see it, obviously. It's very clear. The problem with looking at the 4-hour charts, like I said, is it is extremely aggressive. It is extremely aggressive and not entirely, does it expect to see a correction, to follow suit. I usually start to look at, more macroeconomic standpoints by zooming out closer to the weekly, closer to the daily to get a better understanding of what exactly is going to happen. So yeah, I can see the cup and handle. That is clear as day. It's still possible, but when you look at things right now from a weekly standpoint, you can see, okay, we have pretty much resistance at the same exact level. Points were retested here at 35.10, 35.50. Same thing happened here at 35.50, and it seems like we're correcting bearish. So until we break this point right here, this bottom support, yes, it's not necessarily a double top just at this point. Right now it is a cup and handle forming, But granted that if we cross this resistance here at 32.91, it's going to be some sort of, double top. So it's definitely a harder approach, but I just ultimately don't see us going much higher. We could maybe correct and retest resistance at 35.50 again, but I do think it's going to cause a correction. Otherwise, guys, that's pretty much going to wrap up today's video. Definitely make sure to check out BitYard. This is the platform that I've been using not only to trade Bitcoin, but obviously to trade gold, silver, the Dow Jones, NASDAQ. I mean, this allows us to basically capitalize off not only the S&P 500, but it allows us to capitalize off of, Bitcoin and, XRP and things of that nature. So definitely make sure to check it out. I did link BitYard in the description down below. Otherwise, definitely make sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications, leave a giant thumbs up, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Peace.